Today on Drawbli, we are drawing
magic.
Click that subscribe button if you are new around here.
And comment below with ideas of what we can paint in the future.
So Abby, how do you draw magic?
Well, you pick a person, as we both did, because obviously that's the only idea of magic we know of.
People are magical, yes.
If they look slightly medieval, then that's better. And you draw that and make it look magical. So tell me, what about this image spoke magic to you?
Well, do you know who this character is?
No.
This is Sabrina from the new Sabrina show. So, do you remember the Sabrina the Teenage Witch show? They like rebooted it, but it's like a much darker, raw, sexy version of Sabrina. And it's very different.
Oh, so this isn't even a medieval-looking picture, because I thought it was medieval at first.
Oh, no, she's wearing like can't you see her bag and like her nice jacket?
Yeah, I thought it was like a cloak and an old medieval satchel.
That's kind of the look that they go for, I think, with the character.
Oh, cool.
You know, she always wears these very bright outfits,
Yeah.
Typically very bright red.
Costume design for these kinds of shows is so fun to look at and see and try to think of what they were trying to get across and study. I love that kind of thing.
But if you guys listened to the last episode of Drawbli, we were talking about this selection lasso technique or tool that this is my first time kind of fully going in with this piece. So what I wanted to do here specifically, we were also talking about like selecting colors and stuff like that. So a lot of the time when I am working on, a piece, I try not to select any colors from the image because I want to really try to get better at picking colors myself. But with this one, I just wanted to make something cool. I was totally fine with just selecting some colors directly from the image. So I specifically only selected like a few colors. I tried to keep it to a minimum. So like the background, I think there's only like 4 colors for the entire background, maybe 5.
I loved how you ended up doing the background too with these stamps from the syrup brush.
Yeah, I just kind of jabbed it on there a bunch. But for the most part, with this entire piece, I just kind of play with the selection lasso. I also use the syrup brush to draw some like really hard edges, but that was pretty much my whole strategy with this piece and tried to make something visually distinct, visually interesting.
Yeah, that's so cool. When I first saw this finished piece, I was like, whoa, how did you do that? That's amazing. But you didn't show me that day. So
no, I held on to my secrets.
And we discussed this in the last episode, but we used a list of prompts this week to create stuff for Drawbli, and we drew the prompts in a different order. So last video I drew using the selection tool because by then Ben had shown me how it works.
Yes. At this point, you had no idea.
I have no idea. I'm just going in with lines like some sort of chump.
Well, I've seen like a lot of different techniques for painting. And this is one that I've seen many times. So I was like, I've never really like fully like committed to only doing it this way.
Yeah.
So I thought it would just be fun to like really try to only use one tool.
No, it's really cool. I decided on mine to dedicate a lot of time to the line work.
Yeah, and it looks really good.
Except, these lines aren't great yet, because here I was still kind of, on the hands I went back to just sketching, even though it was my line layer.
Hands are hard.
But yeah, this is my last piece I did before I discovered the selection tool, and I haven't gone back. I would love to be able to learn to blend, though, the selection tool and line work and line art. I think that's my next hurdle.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you more about that, maybe outside of Drawbli.
Yeah.
I've tried it, and it's hard. It's difficult for me, because I'm not super good at blending edges, but it's something that I really want to practice and get better at. But I love your lines here. I can see that you're like, what's up with your oval shapes around the knuckles? What are you attempting to do
I
there?
think I'm attempting to represent to myself where the highlights or shadows fall on his knuckles. You can see how they're kind of out of alignment with each other. I'm all about setting up a little landmark for myself when I'm trying to draw something as finicky as hands, so that I don't draw one finger going out into nowhere only to have it not connect back with the rest of the hand appropriately. That being said, my hands are still a little odd, and I only noticed...
I think they look really good for your first pass on them.
Oh, thank you.
Hands are super hard.
They are very hard, and coloring them later was also very, very hard. I think I was using the color picker a little bit on the hands.
What brush are you using here?
It might be the syrup brush. I liked it because
That's my favorite.
Yeah, with just a little pressure, you can vary the line weight,
A lot.
which I think is such an attractive look.
Yeah, I keep it turned all the way up, actually.
Yeah.
in terms of size.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I just barely press with it.
Oh, cool. It makes it look like you were actually drawing with like a calligraphy pen.
Yeah, it does.
And with a little extra pressure, you're still getting that line thickness.
Yeah, Kim Jung-gi, who's one of like the greatest artists alive, he uses, I don't know the exact brush pen that he uses, but with it, it's very similar in the way it works to a syrup brush, where you can get extremely fine lines,
brush, yeah.
but you can also use it to create big blocky shapes.
I bet he goes through a lot of those.
I have no idea. I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I have a little miniature one down in my art supplies, my small amount of art supplies that I keep on hand.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to use, but it's hard to do what he does. And when I say it's hard to do, I can't do it.
Not many can, yeah. What's going on with the corner of your eye over there?
Just some sketchiness, trying to represent the general vague idea of the eye.
You create some very like flowy lines. Like, I don't know exactly how to describe what you do with your lines, but in particular here in the face, I think it looks really cool.
Oh, well, thank you. I like what you're doing with the hands there. I have.
My hands start very messy, but I do fix them later. I'm just like blocking out where the shapes will exist right now. So like some general plane changes, but I don't really like to work in one area too long.
Yeah.
Because then you get like tunnel vision and you're stuck working on one thing forever.
Yes.
So I decide to only work on them a little bit and then continue to jump around. Like right now, the cloak that she's wearing, the jacket, is it's kind of like messy. Like it doesn't read super well. So like a lot of what I do moving forward is taking what I already have in its simplicity and then like trying to make it more readable.
You've come a long way since our Gucci episode.
Wow, I thank you. That's very kind of you.
In terms of fashion and drawing it.
My greatest fear of all the Gucci episode is Drawbli. Do not go back and watch the Gucci. Whatever you do not go back.
Unless you're curious to see how much we have improved, because we have both gone significantly past our, not significantly, but somewhat past our skill level.
Yeah, we've been doing Drawbli for 6 months now, I think. So in that time, we've improved a lot.
I think so.
You know, we've talked about how we should do these year in review things where, you know, we take time to look back at how much we've improved in a year. But during the early stages, I feel like maybe we've improved so much, maybe it warrants a little 6 month, you know, half year look back at Drawbli already.
Yeah, that would
just
be
because
fun to do.
We really have improved a lot since our early stages.
Yeah, I think something that's helped, I don't remember if we talked about this on an episode recently, but you brought it up. The fact that by making these episodes, we are effectively doing a post-mortem on everything we draw.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's like how you improve quickly.
Yeah, so when you do a post-mortem, what are you specifically looking at? Like, what would you, I don't know, you know more about those than I do.
Yeah, so the whole idea, and for those that don't know what a post-mortem is, I always say it sounds a little macabre, but it literally translates to after death. The whole point of a post-mortem is to look at the good and continue to, you know, find the good that you did, try to do that more in the future, look at the bad that you did, and try to avoid that in the future. Like, that's very straightforward. It can be a lot more complicated than that, but when you're talking about like a simple art piece that you spent an hour on, that is my recommendation. So like looking at your piece and you're working on the hair right now, and you might say, why did I spend so much time drawing these little cross sections in the hair? Those actually didn't do anything for the finished piece, and I ended up wasting a lot of time doing that.
I wasted so much time on this hair.
I had no idea. Like, I'm just using that as an example.
You hit the nail on the head, though. This hair, this is why my video is sped up by 800% to get inside like a rough 2 minutes.
Yes, Abby did work on this for 2 hours.
And yours is sped up like 300%. which is pretty standard for our
just
little
a little
videos.
over an hour. Right?
Yeah, because I just went around and around on this hair. I do a lot of that in this piece. Just let me go back and change that, and then ultimately, when I color it all in, I destroy any semblance of being able to tell what was going on here. Yeah.
And it's being able to take a complex form like that boy's hair and simplify that is a very difficult thing. Mm-hmm. It requires a lot of forethought, and that is hard to do in an hour.
Yeah, I decided I liked it with like a spiky or spidery feel to it.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool.
It was fun to do that way, but it took a long time.
But yeah, going back to postmortem, that's like what the whole objective is with this. So like the next time you do hair, because you're looking at this right now, you can say, okay, well, now I know that I should spend a little more time planning on what I'll do with this hair. Mm-hmm. Or maybe next time you'll say, I need to not create so much complexity in the hair. I can simplify it, or whatever. Or maybe you did perfectly on the hair, as good as you possibly could, and you're like, I need to do exactly what I did again. So like that's the whole objective. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that one. That's the one. I did perfectly on it.
Yes. Yeah. I actually had a point when I was working on my face where I was like, ooh, I love this so much. And I was actually afraid to work on it anymore.
Was it this point?
It was before I added in, it was like around this stage. I think before I added in the highlights or anything in the eye.
Oh, okay.
And I was really liking the direction, but I was like, no, I know I can do better. I just have to like push through, and it's going to look a little worse for a little bit, most likely. But I just know from experience that, it's going to get a little worse before it gets better.
Cool.
Sometimes you have to take 1 step back, 2 steps forward, kind of idea.
Oh, I like that. You have to be very comfortable with the stages where it doesn't look good yet.
Yeah, like, everybody is maybe like a little embarrassed to show off their art, but, you can always work on it more and improve it. And I think in particular, a lot of people are afraid or nervous to show off the steps and process of how you went from where you started to where you are now, like what we do here in Drawbli. But like, I don't care. Like, show it all. Like, here it all is. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like,
no, one of these episodes coming up is my very first time using the selection tool. Remember how we talked about like I drew out of order on our prompt list
from this past week,
yeah, and it's pretty bad. But I'm totally comfortable with it, sitting out there, because that's exactly what it is. I'm learning.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point here is to learn, to get better. I mean, when we started Drawbli, I felt like, I felt like I had some semblance of what I was doing, but now, like, compared to then, it's just like kind of like, oh, why did I do that? You can totally spot places where you're like, oh, that was so dumb. Why in a million years would I think to do it that way?
Oh yeah, and we're gonna get to that point again and again and again.
Oh yeah,
isn't that interesting?
Oh, for sure.
But I mean, we can see here that we're not there yet, but seeing and being able to execute are two very different things.
So, in terms of post-mortem, is there anything about your character that you thought you did well, or maybe
did well?
Yeah.
I did like my lines on him. I thought their varied weight was just kind of fun, and the sketchiness that it imparted overall was something that appealed to me. I liked the saturation of the colors that I chose, and I liked using the paper background file that I downloaded a bunch of paper background files because I think they're very fun to work on.
JPEG I found.
Yeah, I like the JPEG, the part I did nothing on.
And you're using the selection tool, I will say.
Oh yeah, I'm not using it to fill color, but I do use it to change hues and values. So yeah, this was...
You've done it before. You weren't completely new to the idea.
I wasn't used to using it to create the color fill.
You are using the feathered version of it, though.
I like the feathered version.
Which is cool, yeah. I actually don't use that ever.
Well, you are the king of hard edge, so I could see why.
I'm so edgy, yeah.
You're so edgy.
Oh, you can see that I am cleaning up my fingers, my fingals.
Cool, love to see those last details go in.
Well, not last detail. There's still some more work to go here, but I'm really liking the face at this point.
The face is so piercingly cool, and I think that's because you have such a mastery of the hard edges. She has a hard, piercing gaze.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Thank
cool.
you.
Your colors next to each other are always so harmonious.
Well, I told you with this one, I specifically sampled from the image. So that is an unfair thing to say about this piece.
I don't know. I feel like the way you place the blocks of color, they look really good next to each other. I mean, it's more than just representing exactly what's in the photo, especially when you're doing it with these specific shapes.
Okay. All right. We'll take a little bit of it. Yeah, and whatever I put down, I kind of just left. So like the shape of the button there, it's like squashed. But I was like, it's kind of fun. It, like anything that went down, I just said okay to. I was like, I didn't really do any undoing. I was just like moving forward. Whatever came out is what came out.
I like that philosophy. She turned out really, really cool.
Yeah, this is probably up to this point my favorite piece that I've done here for Drawbli.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorites of yours too.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, yours is also probably one of my favorites that you've done as well. Your little magic boy over here. Who is this supposed to be King Arthur?
You know, based on my reference photo, I think it's just taken at a Ren fair.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a little plastic toy in the bottom left corner.
Oh, is there?
It looks like it, like a blue plastic toy that a little person is holding.
Where did you find this photo?
On the internet.
Did you just steal this from someone's Facebook?
Yeah, I might as well have.
Here's Jeremy at the Ren Fair.
I honestly have no idea. I know. I think about that. I think about that kind of thing. Yeah, this is some little boy at some place. Although he's pretty well dressed up, so it could be a movie set because that is a pretty serious costume.
Or just a photo shoot, right?
That's true also. But yeah, I was channeling my young King Arthur.
You did a very good job. I mean,
thank you.
You even get like some glow on there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yes, at the very end, that's what makes it look magical.
Right.
Although I didn't notice till way after the end. I think I just noticed and didn't care that where he grabs the sword handle is wildly misaligned from top to bottom. With the top part being off to the right and the bottom all being off to the left a little bit.
Oh, with your drawing?
Yeah.
I did not notice.
Oh, well, then it must be not as obvious as I thought.
And look at you getting the planes of your nose in there. So impressed.
Channel my inner Polygon there.
My inner Polygon. Oh
planes of the face.
The planes.
Sculpting with color.
Yeah. Well, value. Man.
Value.
And
color.
Yeah, your sword is a lip. Like
you see it now?
I think it's so subtle it's barely even noticeable.
Yeah. Oh, I like what you're doing to her sleeve. Look at those little subtle things you're doing here to add such interest, and that's cool.
Yeah, I tried to pick only a few areas to add some like small amount of details. Like face and hands are typically high detail areas. For the jacket, I tried to keep it relatively simplistic, but I really wanted the jacket to read well. I actually think there's a lot more I could do to make the jacket read better, but I kind of go in here and try to correct a lot of my weirdness. Like around the neck there was definitely some stuff that it looks fine because like you can kind of hide mistakes in complexity, but I really don't like to do that, so I try to go in and fix as much of that as I can. I wanted to make visual sense, you know?
Right.
It's got to be believable.
No, I'm glad you left the coat simpler and the face and hands more complex, because that's something I ran into with a different piece I was working on this week, where I liked it overall, but I felt like I added the same complexity to every single part of the piece.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't know where to look.
Exactly. That's how it comes across. Oh, that I messed with his hair for a hot minute.
I honestly think that kind of thing is a little out of our grasp, though, currently. Like, being able to control areas of detail. It's
we just represent what's there, and if it's detailed, it's detailed.
Exactly. Like, we almost don't have the skill to do that quite as well as we would like yet.
Yes.
But I really love the way your final piece turned out. I think he's so cool.
Thank you. I love yours
your
too.
Glowing
oh my gosh,
effect.
her bag really is this really cool line going through the whole thing. That adds a lot of interest too. Your colors are gorgeous. We both knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
On this one.
Yeah, we're kind of We're kind of amazing until next episode. Don't watch the next one.
Oh yeah, one of these here.
Everyone
where I first,
unsubscribe.
First
Just watch this episode. This is the only Drawbli episode you ever need to watch.
They only ever made one.
Weird. I came back and they deleted all their other videos.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
Well, hey, click that subscribe button if you are new around here.
And comment below with ideas of what else we should draw and paint.
And this is the part where we say
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Whoa, an angry goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah.
Why are we angry now?
I don't know.
Who's this new angry Abby?
I don't know her.
I don't know what happened. Is it because we deleted all our videos?
Probably. Yeah.